Alright, so just in case the pictures don't come through clear, I figured I'd make a video for you guys. I'm gonna pop this open. Again, it's a JD machine matching billet upper and lower set. If you can see, this is the main problem that I'm having. This is actually the only problem that I'm having. The rifle functions just fine. As you can see throughout the entire buffer face, I have some pretty major chipping going on from the detent that's right there. What brought it to my attention is I actually have one of those snap off already, which I told you guys. Ended up snapping one off, opened up the receivers, spring flew across the room, had it replaced. Rifle gear replaced it, shot it a couple times, said the rifle was good to go because it shot. Again, it fires just fine. The only issue I'm having is the chipping with the buffer, as you can see, pretty aggressive, and then the retainer snapped off already. So I'm assuming if I keep shooting this one's going to snap off as well. The rifle has less than 100 rounds through it so far. Again, besides the chipping, it fires just fine. Took it to rifle gear for the third time, and what we ended up doing is we swapped uppers and lowers onto both of these from DPMS platforms, and I forgot what the other rifle was. One was a factory DPMS, and then the other one was a factory something else. What we noticed is that the bolt carrier group, when you close it, I'm sure you guys can try it on your factory rifles at the shop, but when you close it, you actually feel the bolt carrier group spine, or whatever, the butt of the bolt carrier group. When you get about halfway closed, you feel it engage the buffer. Mine does not do that. At first we thought it was probably the buffer detent. The hole was drilled out of spec, but after looking at it and after swapping parts and uppers and stuff like that, we kind of noticed that this bolt carrier group, this is a CMMG 308 bolt carrier group. We noticed that as you can see, it kind of sits inside of the upper. The upper actually will focus. Come on, stop being gay. I keep focusing on my motorcycle. But there we go. If you can notice that there's actually a lip. The receiver actually protrudes farther back than the bolt carrier group. And then I'll show you later, but when you close the rifle, you can actually see, if you have light behind it, you can actually see the light come through pretty much until the receiver is closed. And what that's from is the actual receivers touching, not the bolt carrier group making contact. So what it's doing is during the cycle period, the bolt carrier group goes farther forward in the receiver than it should, and that allows this to make contact with the detent. So instead of only making contact with this when you take the receivers apart, basically it's making contact every cycle period. And again, this has just under 100 rounds, so it's pretty much been smacking it 100 times. So I think that's the problem. Again, we did pretty much trial and error, kind of the process of elimination. We thought maybe it was the detent hole, but we also, because we saw that this actually wasn't flush, we figured maybe it was a CMMG bolt carrier group. What we ended up doing is we put the CMMG in both of the other factory LR-308 rifles, which are DPMS pattern. It fit just fine. It actually stuck out like it should. Let me see if I can replicate it just a little bit. But it protruded out the back, maybe about a little bit less than that, if not that much. That's how it sat in the other rifles. So we figured, okay, maybe it's just the upper. We ended up putting the DPMS bolt carrier group, which worked in the other rifle. When you closed it, it made contact. You can feel the bolt carrier group make tension with the spring. So pretty much when you close it, you can feel you pushing the spring back. On my rifle, you do not feel that at all. I'll show you guys in a second. but we did it with the we put the DPMS bolt carrier group that worked just fine in the other rifle in this one, and it had the same problem. It sat too deep, and again, pretty much the receivers go farther back than the bolt carrier group. So we're thinking maybe it's the upper, because the head spacing is good on the barrel. So the barrel, has nothing to do with the barrel as far as we know. But again, that's why I'm sending it to you guys to maybe figure it out. But we noticed that the bolt carrier group actually sits deeper than it should. And then I'll go ahead and try and replicate closing it. It's going to be hard to do with one hand. But if you guys can see, there's absolutely no contact. About right here is when the other rifles make contact. The only tension I'm getting is when this is engaging itself in the lower. But other than that, you can see that there's almost no contact whatsoever. It's actually got a decent amount of gap between it still, all the way until it's closed. And then you get a slight tiny bit of tension. On all the other rifles, there's actually a significant amount of tension through it. So what we're thinking is maybe it's the upper receiver, not the lower receiver like we initially thought. Again, it's not the bolt carrier group, because we tried 2 different bolt carrier groups and they did the same thing as what this one's doing on this rifle. And then we put this bolt carrier group in the other factory rifles, and it worked just fine. So we canceled that out. They said it could still be this, just slightly off. But what I'm thinking is it's probably the upper. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We also tried different uppers on this lower. I don't remember the result, but I believe it gave a little bit of contact, unlike this one's doing, where it has 0 pressure with the buffer. I believe the other uppers had the same issue. They weren't making contact, but they had a little bit more tension than this one does. So again, if it's not coming through in the pictures, the main issue is, for some reason on this rifle, standard spec bolt carrier groups do not sit flush or protrude like they should. Again, they should be, again, you guys can probably compare this in-house rifles you guys have, but they should actually sit out just a little bit to make contact when you shut it, and it does not do that. And then obviously I have some major chipping issues on top of, I've already had buffer retainer failure, and I've had this is going to be the second one. I've had the first one replaced. Again, it's a CMMG standard stock kit with the H buffer, which is the correct one. Rifle gear already checked. It's the one that they use in all the rifles. CMMG bolt carrier group 308, JD machine matching billet set, Mega Ma 10, 60 or 18-inch barrel, and I think that would be the only thing you guys really need to worry about. But again, the head spacing is good, so we don't think it's the barrel. We're suspecting that it's probably either both of the receivers are just slightly out of spec, but mainly the upper receiver, and then again possibly the detent hole. So if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and give me a call, and hopefully we can get it figured out. I just want to see if I can get this rifle to run properly. Other than the chipping and the fracture of the detent, everything functions fine. The rifle shoots great, shoots accurate, shoots reliably. But again, just the chipping and the breakage of the detent is the only issue that I'm having with this rifle. But other than that, it's been a decent rifle. So again, hopefully we can get it figured out. And yeah, that's it. So I'll talk to you guys later.